So did you get that rash cleared up that you were telling me about? I'm sorry, we're back. This is Dream.
Yes.
This is Dream Idiots.
Turns out it was a case of New Jersey swamp ass. That was no, there was no rash involved. There
hmm
was a move for Bryan and renovations for me, so things have been crazy. And then there was that little stretch of time where we had, what do you call it, Bryan? The holidays, which also took up a
Yes.
lot of time.
Uh-huh.
But we are back. This is Dream Idiots. My name is Morris. That's Bryan. Each week. Well, wait, that changes now, doesn't it?
It
We've
changes
got a
slightly.
we've got a new format. We used to bring you two stories a week, but we want to keep bringing you an episode a week. So what we're doing instead is we're bringing you one story moving forward with this episode, episode 162. We're going to take turns telling stories, and the other guy is going to provide the curse word of the week. So we'll start off with a story and then have the curse word at the end of the episode.
So it motivates you to stay till the end.
Yes, it does.
Right.
And I can promise you that mine next week is phenomenally filthy because I'm telling the story tonight. So, any other announcements, Bryan? The world continues to go to hell. The president is completely insane. Pete
Yep.
Hegseth still
Yes and
sucks.
yes and yes. Yes. RIP to Renee Good. What an absolute clusterfuck of a story that is. Fuck ICE, fuck Christy Nome, fuck all those people. In terms of updates, thank you for listening to A Bullet in the Window Frame. Got a lot of downloads on that and some interesting feedback. And I think the takeaway from that is that the JFK assassination is the biggest conspiracy cesspool out there. And the second you start diving into it, quickly it's revealed that people, we got a tiny bit of criticism because our story was it was just speculation, man. Well, what? What are you bitching about? Our whole point in telling that story was a slight sort of journalistic endeavor that we realized this isn't that we weren't sharing facts, and we were hoping someone else would take the baton and run with it and do some more investigating with that story. But the JFK community has folks who would dismiss my story and say, well, LBJ's, his father was born in Texas, but his mother was born on Jupiter, and LBJ was actually raised on the far side of the moon, and you have a bunch of crazies in that world. So, what I think is going to happen is Byron Glickfeld, who was on that episode, we have actually hired a private investigator that's going to be doing some more digging for us in the DFW area here in 2026, and we're going to take this story on ourselves since no one else will. So anyway, but thanks for listening to it. We got lots of positive feedback as well, and people thinking it was an interesting story that was told well, but we haven't found a major news outlet that wants to run with it. So we're going to keep at it.
In this economy, anyway. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic story, Bryan, and well done. I thought it was a clear, concisely told story, and you guys even said many times we're speculating. I mean,
Right.
it's
Right. But oh
pay
well.
attention.
Right.
Um, so should we get started, Bryan, with our new format here?
I'm ready.
Okay, Bryan, just down the main drag from my old high school, and therefore your old high school,
hmm
there once stood a small house, one of many in a row. In front of this house once stood a sign. Maybe the house and sign are still there. I don't know. I've not been down that stretch of road there in a long time. The sign read something to the effect of tarot, palms read, astrology. Above those phrases, in much larger lettering, was a single word. This word was meant to be psychic, but it always took a second or two to suss this out because it was horribly misspelt. There was an F in there, maybe a K, and even a second S. I have no exact recall of the order of the letters. The result was something along the lines of puffa psychic. The question now, as it was 30 years ago, is if the person responsible for the sign was indeed psychic, how did they not see the misspelled word coming? It's a hack joke, but it's an obvious and excellent question. How did they not understand that? The answer is they're not psychic and
hmm
they can't spell. And this is similar to my answer involving almost all paranormal events. Not psychic, can't tell the future, read the stars or tea leaves. Animancy doesn't work, in a callback to the worst topic and form of divination I've covered on this podcast. Bigfoot, ghosts, the Bermuda Triangle, nonsense. and all of them only perhaps Bigfoot can actually spell. I don't know. I leave a margin of possibility for aliens simply because it seems, I don't know, a bit drastic to assume that we're the only intelligent life forms in the universe. And speaking of aliens, before I can alienate the listeners who believe in the paranormal, allow me to explain my brush with the other side, and then I'll alienate you by explaining it all away. This story I'm calling Sometimes I Think I'm Psychic. From roughly 1988 to 2007, I had a series of dreams, four to be exact, that some people may label precognitive. These were very specific dreams in which people I knew were in car accidents. In the dreams, I had images of the streets involved and the types of accidents.
Wow.
Let's take them in order. Dream one involved a girl I knew in my teens. This dream hit me sometime in 1988 when we were still high school students. In the dream, she was driving down a well traveled road in our city when a tire came from nowhere. Perhaps it had fallen off a car or bounced out of a truck bed. She was unhurt, but her car's fender was damaged. A couple of days later, she revealed that she had been in that traffic accident. This was after my dream. She was driving down the same road. A tire bounced out of nowhere and smashed into her fender. I got the location of both the accident and the fender damage right, sort of. In my dream, she was traveling one direction when she was actually traveling the opposite direction. Ditto for the fender damage. In my dream, I believe the tire hit the driver's side front
Hmm.
uh, fender, but it hit the passenger side front fender.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a little flip flopping in the brain going on there.
Yeah. Dyslexia.
We agreed it was eerie, but I came to the conclusion that it was just coincidence from a dream filled with jumbled information, that perhaps I was sorting out other events that occurred during my waking hours, the way dreams are supposed to work.
Hmm.
A few years later, dream two. This is about 1994 or so. It involved a different high school friend. I dreamt she got into an accident on I-35 in Austin. In the dream, she was exiting in that over underpass area of
Hmm.
Austin. I don't know what you call that. There's a word for it, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, there's a like a 1 mile, 1.5 mile stretch of I-35 right by UT where it's split level, where there's a
Split
upper and
level.
lower
That's
deck.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yep, yep,
Yes.
yep.
Yeah, it's a death trap.
Yes, and in the dream, she was exiting or entering. I can't quite remember. It's been a number of years, and she was hit by a car as she was in that underpass, overpass section of I-35. Nothing terribly specific about it, but like you said, it's a mile or two of you know pretty intense driving, really, for
Hmm.
especially for Austin. Not long after, I talked with her and found out that she indeed had had an accident in such a location while driving
Wow.
south through Austin from points north on the way to San Antonio. All right. So we had 1988, 1994. Here comes the turn of the millennium. This dream was about a college friend, although we had attended high school together. Another I-35 accident, this time rolling her truck along an embankment. Nothing specific, except that it was in this trip. I knew that it had occurred somewhere north of Austin. I knew the color of her truck as well. I had not seen her for some time when I had the dream and didn't even know that she owned a truck. So that's three for three so far,
Hmm.
right? I'm a bit slow on the uptake regarding dreams and warning those who might be in them. But given that I was three for three, or so I thought, I decided that if I had a fourth dream, that I would warn the person if I could reach them. I would have done this after dream two, but with dream, or rather dream three, but I'd fallen out of touch with that person entirely. And it wasn't until late years later we reconnected. Dream four. This was several years later. In fact, it was about seven. I now lived in Houston, and in between that time, I had moved to New York, moved back from New York, gotten married, had a kid. It was 2007, and it was a different scenario. This time in the dream, there were two friends for the price of one. And this time it was two guy friends. In this dream, I knew the exact intersection the accident occurred in, the direction in which they were traveling, and how exactly the other car hit them. They were turning left when another driver ran the red light from the other direction and T-boned them. In general, they were okay, a bit bruised, but able to walk away from the accident. I made a call to one of them and explained the situation. I fell back on the "this is probably all bullshit, but" defense, and he agreed to be careful when he and the other fellow were in the car together next time. About 6 weeks pass. I talk again to the same guy. Recovering from a bit of a car accident, he said. And then he described the accident, which matched my dream precisely. They were turning left at the intersection from my dream and were hit when a truck was coming the other way. My friend stopped and said, "Oh, fuck. That was in your dream. That's creepy." I have been dream free regarding car accidents for almost 20 years. Of the 5 people involved, I remain in contact with 2 of them, have lost all contact with another 2, and the fifth is unfortunately deceased, not from a car accident. So, in the first pass, Bryan, what do you think about my seemingly prophetic dreams?
Well, I have not had, I've never had a dream that lines up, quite so precisely, but I did, 6 years before they wound up connecting, I did have a dream that my mother wound up being partnered with the man she was partnered with for 15 years. But I dreamt they were partnered back when he was married to his first wife.
Oh,
So my father passes away in 2000. I have a dream in 2001 or 2002 that my mom is in a relationship with this man, long time family friend named Larry, who has recently passed away just in the last 6 months, 6 or 7 months. Delightful guy. I dreamt in 2002 that Larry and my mom were a couple, which was bonkers and insane because at the time he was married to his wife of 40 plus years, and then lo and behold, 7 years later, they are partnered and are partnered for the last 15 years of my mom's life. So I mean I can not sympathize. I mean I'm not sure what the quite what the word is, but yeah, it's interesting.
why do you think that happened with your dream?
I have no idea.
We might want to unpack that sometime because I think there's reasons for it that are
Hmm.
beyond the that are not beyond the supernatural. I think there's a reasonable explanation for it.
But like a psychological reason, emotional
Right,
reason, right?
right. Freud would call this kind of thing an encounter with the uncanny, and he would also have an explanation. And I'm not trying to do a gotcha type situation here, but this is how I actually dealt with deciphering these precognitive abilities. Essentially, these prophetic dreams, according to Freud, would be the result of unresolved tensions in my own life, projected into a format that appeared to be precognitive. In fact, the dreams were the result of varying degrees of trauma of some type that I had undergone previously. I think that's what Freud would argue. So, here's what I think happened in each of these dreams. Dream one, where the girlfriend's car gets hit by the bouncing tire. I often traveled down that same road, and I knew that my girlfriend had a part-time job on that road, along that road. That particular stretch was on her usual route to work from where she lived. So she would often be on that road. Also, not too far away from the street was a hubcap resale franchise. Do you remember Hubcap Annie's?
Pepe Annie's, of course, yeah.
Yeah. I visited there
It's still
often.
around, I think, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
Uh-huh.
I visited there often in the 80s because hubcaps got stolen a lot back then.
Uh-huh.
And the first car I owned was notorious for ill-fitting hubcaps that would fly off at inopportune times, just spinning off down 410 or 281, just like the tire from my dream. These were all events that happened to me in waking life. And it didn't hurt that I was dreaming about my girlfriend at the time. Of course, I'm going to dream about her. And that stretch of road and tires and hubcaps flying off were there because these were all stressors in my day-to-day life or things I was concerned about, right? Because it
Right.
had happened before.
Right.
So my
Sure.
brain, my brain, I think, was just putting things together: hubcaps, girlfriend, car accident, and merging it together, and it just happened to coincide with what happened next. Dream two, roughly 1995 or so. This one is simple, much easier to explain. My friend was driving through Austin, had an accident along the I-35 double highway, the over-under section, as I said. And I can say that I was honestly always stressed about driving on that lower road. I
Hmm.
hated it, hated it, hated it. The entrances and the exits come up upon you very quickly, and people shoot in and out of there like Hot Wheels. It's ridiculous. Plus, a couple of years prior to that, I had driven that long stretch of road with my friend. There were 2 others in my car, and we were leaving Dallas after a concert at the old Reunion Arena. when we stopped by a restaurant for a pit stop before we headed back to Waco, where we were spending the night and then driving on to San Antonio the next day. Um, and as we were leaving this area, shots rang out over the top of my car. Someone had shot at us. So I got in the car, hit the gas, and shot down 35. Heart's racing, blood's pumping. Meanwhile, the other three people in the car fall asleep. So I don't know what it was about that, but that was a very stressful situation.
So shots fired in Austin or in Waco?
This was in Dallas, the south side of
So in
Dallas.
Dallas. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
right. So we went back to Waco, spent the night, dropped off the friend that lived in Waco, and the three of us drove down from there. Okay, so I obviously have many reasons to be stressed about driving on I-35. Another time in high school, I went to a concert in Austin from San Antonio. The day I'd had three of my four wisdom teeth taken out, and I was
Uh,
unbelievably stoned and could not drive. So people were driving me. And I just remember the drive back being, I don't remember the drive back actually is the problem. I just remember stopping a lot to drink water because I just was completely out of it because I was on Vicodin or something. Anyway, so there's a lot of association with I-35 and accidents. I mean, it just,
right.
according to MSN.com, in an article for mysa.com, there's roughly 2,300 accidents in that Austin stretch of I-35.
Yeah. Some
2,300.
someone told me that the stretch of I-35 through Central Austin, where it has that split level, I think that section is only a mile long, and something like 40% of all fatal car accidents in Travis County happen right there.
Well, okay, there you go.
That's
And
right.
this dovetails into Dream 3 because it was again I-35. The question though is, how did I know that she rolled on an embankment? I've seen tons of trucks roll on embankments on I-35.
Mhm.
Tons. I've damn near rolled my car off an embankment on I-35. How did I know the color of her truck though?
You'd seen it before? Nope.
Didn't even know she had a
Mm,
truck. Wasn't in contact with her. We didn't get in contact till about a year after her accident. First time we talked in years. Because it was the same color as my dad's truck, silver.
hmm.
In the early 2000s, one out of every four trucks on the road was silver, 25%.
Oh wow.
Black, white, silver. Those are the three
Those are the three.
colors
Yeah.
that keep coming back and back and back. Dream 4 is also pretty easy. That intersection is literally down the street from one of my friend's houses. I've driven through that intersection many times, as have you. And I myself was damn near T-boned at that exact intersection about a year before my dream, turning the
To
same direction because someone
Walsham
ran the red
and
light. Not Walsham, nope. And in the car with me was one of their friends from the dream, the dream I would eventually have.
uh,
So it's not precognition. It's my mind clearing out random fears using familiar people in familiar situations. That's all it is. I'm not foreseeing crashes. I'm trying to make sense of my own tensions with the dreams. It's your brain talking to itself.
right.
Um, with near accidents and traffic related stress. That's all it is because I lived in Houston, lots of traffic there. Lived in New York City, lots of traffic there. Lived in Salt Lake City, lots of bad drivers there. So it's just clearly is a major stress point in my
Right.
life.
The through line, right?
Mm-hmm. All of that being said, Bryan, should I have another such dream, I'm going to play it safe and go ahead and call that person
Right.
because
Stay home.
uh, I'm at 99% sure this is all horseshit, but there's one part of me that says, it doesn't hurt. And then, of course, I start thinking, well, what if they go a different way because I told them to go a different way and they get in an even worse accident? I mean, it's just telling the future would suck.
Right.
Anyway, sources for this were very minor. That MSN.com article via MySA, My San Antonio data, at least 2,300 crashes happen on I-35 in Austin each year from Kelsey Thompson in March of 2025. And then truck color stats came from Lakeshore Chrysler Dodge Ram Jeep of Picayune.com for that information on the colors of trucks. Um, you know, I'm not one to discount things out of hand,
Right.
but as I've gotten older, so much of it is bullshit. And people who do the cold readings and all that stuff, the John
Oh yeah.
Edwards and all those people, it's nonsense.
Right.
So one of these days I'm going to do a story on one of the great debunkers. You ever heard of the Amazing Randy?
No.
I'm gonna Amazing Randy, terrifying Randy's older brother. Um, no, I think I'm gonna do a bit on the Amazing Randy, who is himself a illusionist, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Hmm.
And then he spent the latter half of his years debunking psychics
Hmm.
because we grew up in the 70s when it was all the rage for
Yeah. Very super common. Yeah.
In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, just whatever.
Yeah. I think Harry Houdini was very active in trying to
Mhm.
debunk folks that were just scamming people out of their money. And, so
Yeah, because he lived through the height of spiritualism in America with the
right,
Fox sisters and all the folks who were doing the pseudo stuff.
right, right.
So anyway, I'm not telling you that if you have what you think is a precognitive dream to not warn someone. That's entirely up to you. But I wouldn't think for a
Couldn't
minute that
hurt.
it's actually couldn't hurt.
Right.
Unless they do the thing where they go a different direction because you told them to, and then something happens on that direction. But that again, that way lies madness. Um, so yeah, that's my story that I'm
Hmm.
calling. Sometimes I think I'm psychic, and in true spirit to the sign that started this off, sometimes is misspelled.
SUM.
No, I just put a P in front of it. But sometimes,
Sometimes.
but sometimes I think I'm psychic.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, it's very very cool. Right now, my sort of weird recurring, and it is a recurring dream with different people, where I have someone who is moderately close to me, who comes to me and says, oh, I have to, give you the bad news. I don't know what happened. I want to tell you that my such and such, a parent died, my father died, my mother died, and I'm like, yeah, I know that happened 2 years ago, right? I mean, it's like everyone knows what? And then I wake
Mhm.
up. I'm like, what? I've had that 4 or 5 times in the last, 3 or 4 months. So, someone close to me going, I'm sorry, did you hear my, I'm so upset today. My mother passed. Like, yeah, she died in 2023. What? What are you
Mhm.
talking about? Yeah, I know that. So I don't know. Weird.
Why
Dreams,
do you think
dreams are
that's
weird.
happening?
I've no, no clue.
I can think of a very good reason because people our age, all of our parents are dying. We're
Well,
at
that's
that
true.
age where our parents are all, you lost your dad a long time ago, but my
Right.
parents and your mom was within the last, well, almost 6 years of my dad. So I suspect that we're not the only ones that have lost parents
Oh yeah, I mean,
of our friend
left,
group.
left,
So
left and right. Everyone I know is either losing a parent or getting some form of cancer or some other disease that is weird and rare. So be careful out there, folks. Eat organic, drive carefully, and take care of yourself, as
drink
we
lots
always
of
say.
water, drink
Get
lots of
lots of sleep.
water, get lots of sleep.
Right.
Brian, do you want to send us out with a curse word of the week?
So, curse word of the week. We're going back to the country that gives us so many curse word gifts.
Deutschland?
The country that gave us Schadenfreude, which is, of course, the pleasure you gain from someone else's, I don't know, bad news or, whatever. Something bad happening to someone you dislike and you gaining pleasure from it. There is now, tangent to that, there is Scheissenfreude.
Shit, shit, something, right? Jason?
Yeah. Gaining pleasure from watching someone else lose their shit.
Ah,
Which seemed appropriate because in watching some of the ICE protesters, it is very very amusing watching some of these ICE assholes getting red faced and losing their damn mind with a complete stranger who is standing on a street corner in the snow and who is just laughing at them, just as they go completely bonkers, and holding a camera in their face and just laughing at them. So Scheissenfreude, gaining pleasure from watching someone lose their shit.
that's good. Is that one you came up with, or did you
No,
find
I,
that,
no,
or
I read that somewhere in passing. So I do think it's a new concoction, I believe, but pretty
Scheissenfreude? I like
pretty
that.
funny.
And I think we're going to continue to see a lot of that because a lot of people are getting out in the streets and, um,
There's
you know,
no statute of limitations on murder. So just something to consider when you
yep,
ponder Jonathan Ross, the man who shot that poor lady in the face, and Christy Nome and all the rest of them. There is no statute of limitations on these crimes. So not sure where you're going to run and hide, but eventually you'll have to.
perhaps Greenland, a
So
bunch of turds.
thanks for listening, folks. Please check out dreamidiots.com. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a follow. You can find us on the socials, and if you go to our website, you can drop us a line too. Send us a curse word, send us a funny story to look into, and we're going back to this new format in order to sort of lighten the load for Morris and I going forward. It's a little bit easier, and so we can still do these weekly.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. So it might turn into a war of curse words with us both doing curse words now
Right.
full time. So, all right, folks, hang in there. Be good to each other. Give a hug to somebody you love. Take care of each other and keep fighting the good fight out there. See ya.